All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we're going to talk about Calvin Johnson and whether or not his receiving record can survive. We'll talk about what he had to say, how it's kind of inevitable that it's going to be broken. And I'll give you my thoughts on who has the best chance of breaking that record. So, Calvin Johnson hasn't played in the NFL since, well, he retired. And I think it was, when did he retire? I think it was 2015, I want to say. Um, but yeah, this record he has had for over a decade. He broke Jerry Rice's record. This was back in 2012. He broke the record um, with 1,964 receiving yards. And yeah, like I said, that was back in 2012. Catching 122 passes in 16 games. And Jerry Rice's record, this was back in 1995, 1,848 receiving yards. And that stood for 17 years. And this is what Calvin Johnson had to say on his record. He said, "It's bound to fall at some point the way it's going, so it is what it is. I held it down. I don't even know how long, over a decade now." And he also said they want more offense, so at some point it's going to happen. You got to be healthy. You got to play really a full 17 now. That's the key. You got to be healthy. If you could play 17 guys that put up numbers, you're going to put up numbers. That 17, you get that extra game to put another 150 or 200 yards. So, yeah, it's a matter of when, not if, this record is going to get broken. And there's been a few players that, have come close. You had Tyreek Hill last year, but unfortunately he got hurt late in the season. And he finished with 1,799 receiving yards. You had Justin Jefferson a couple years ago, 1,809 receiving yards. And then Cooper Kupp, he came close when he won the Triple Crown back in 2021 when the Rams won the Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to this. It's because the NFL is, adding games. I mean, we're going to get, an 18-game season at some point, which I've talked about a lot recently. And, yeah, that's just going to make, I mean, you even look at the quarterbacks, too. I mean, all those records are going to be broken because, again, more games being added to the schedule. And, yeah, I mean, nowadays it is more of a, a pass-happy league. So, yeah, I mean, at some point a receiver is going to break that record. Now, who has the best chance of breaking that record? Well, I just brought up Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill. I don't think Cooper. I think if Cooper Kupp was going to do it, it was going to be when the Rams won the Super Bowl. I feel like now, he's getting older, and I feel like now with Puka Nacua in the fold, that's kind of going to hurt his chances. I think Puka Nacua could do it. Maybe. I mean, but at the same time, Matthew Stafford, I mean, who knows how long, he's still going to play at a high level. Last year was a bounce back season for him. I mean, I think Puka and Cooper Kupp are going to have solid seasons this upcoming year. But, we'll see. But I don't think Cooper Kupp is going to be the one to do it. I think if he was to do it, it should have been when, he won the Triple Crown. But who knows? They were talking about. I think Sean McVay recently was talking about Cooper Kupp being fully healthy. Last couple of years he's been banged up. So who knows? Maybe we'll see the Cooper Kupp from 2021. I think Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill. I think those guys, they're definitely in the conversation to be able to do that. I mean, if Tyreek Hill doesn't get hurt last year, probably gets, 2,000 yards. But he unfortunately got hurt and missed, some time. So that did hurt his chances. I mean, with Tua, he puts up big numbers. Now, if he stayed with Patrick Mahomes, I mean, who knows? But I mean, even with Tua, I mean, yeah, he put up about 1,800 yards. I mean, just a yard short of that mark. So Tyreek Hill could do it. I mean, he's looking for a new contract. Justin Jefferson, I mean, he definitely can. It's just, I think with him, it's going to come down to, how the quarterback situation plays out. But not to say that he's not going to put up big numbers with whoever he plays with, because when I talked about how he did with Nick Mullins and Josh Dobbs last year, even though he really didn't play with Josh Dobbs that long, it was really Nick Mullins is really who he played with. He still put up over 130 yards receiving in some games. So yeah, I mean, whoever is throwing him the ball, he's gonna get his numbers. It's just last year, yeah, dealt with some injuries. But so he's looking to bounce back. He still had over 1,000 yards, even playing in only 10 games. So, trying to think of who else that could maybe get 2,000 yards. I mean, I think of Devontae Adams, but yeah, no, I don't think it's going to be him. Maybe if he was still playing with Aaron Rodgers, maybe. But I mean, he hasn't done it once. So I mean, even with Rodgers, I think Tyreek Hill, that's the guy that has the best chance right now, because if he doesn't get hurt last year, he probably gets it. So I would say him, and yeah. So I mean, we'll see, but they're gonna add an extra game at some point, so that's gonna better someone's chances of doing so. I don't know who do you guys think, if anyone has a worthy candidate of breaking the record, because I think Tyreek Hill has the best chance because he was very close to doing it last year. I'm trying to think of who else. I'm like trying to go through every team in my head. Yeah, I mean, I don't really see, going through divisions too. Yeah, I don't really. I mean, let's see. I mean, the Lions, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, Jared Goff spreads the ball around. I mean, Jordan Love's going to spread the ball around with his team. Caleb Williams is going to do the same thing. I mean, who I was thinking before is Jamar Chase. If Joe Burrow plays a full season, and T. Higgins is, not on the team, maybe Jamar Chase does it. I think Chase has a chance. But also, Burrow's got to stay healthy. And we will talk about Joe Burrow later in the show. Jamar Chase is one I could think of. But, yeah, I mean, I can't. I mean, yeah, you got the Rams receivers. I think Puka would probably do it. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, the 49ers receivers, I mean, Brock Purdy spreads the ball around, so I don't think it's going to be any of them. But, I mean, listen, there's a lot of talented receivers, but I don't think a lot of them are ever going to get close to 2,000 yards. I think there's some candidates, but but we'll have to see. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, I mean, it really just comes down to, again, it's just they're going to add another game, and somebody's going to do it. And maybe it's one of these rookie wide receivers. Maybe Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr., they have a big year. Because we just talked about the Cardinals. I mean, maybe they don't win a lot of games this year, but maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. puts up monster numbers his rookie season, and maybe he gets 2,000 yards. I'm just saying that. I don't really believe that happening, but yeah, I think Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, maybe Puka Nacua. I think those guys. Oh, actually, CeeDee Lamb. Could throw CeeDee Lamb in there. CeeDee Lamb's coming off of his best season. I mean, maybe he does it with Dak in Dak's final year in Dallas, most likely. Apologize for forgetting about CeeDee Lamb. I mean, the Eagles, you got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I mean, it's A.J. Brown maybe, but no, I just feel like, they're going to spread the ball around. They're going to run the football. Yeah, but I'll throw CeeDee Lamb in that category because, the Cowboys, they like to throw the ball too. So yeah, I could see CeeDee Lamb being a possibility as well, but that's just me. We'll see what happens though. Could be this year. Tyreek Hill doesn't get hurt last year, I mean, he probably breaks the record. So, we will have to wait and see. But let me know what you guys think. Who has the best chance of breaking Calvin Johnson's record? Let me know in the comments. So, we are going to take our third break of the show now. When we come back, we'll talk about Travis Kelce of the Kansas City Chiefs. Him, talking about his future in the NFL. And that's what we'll do when we come back. So, with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.